Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Don't know why that's so... Okay, now that's too low. I don't know. There, good enough. Shadow's concerned. I grabbed my glasses and walked into the kitchen, and I think he thought I was abandoning him. We're fine. Hey, it's fine. What are we up to today, eh? Yeah, what are we gonna do today? Tell you what. We have 4 more keychains to do. These keychains are kind of the bane of my existence, though, because they come in a pouch. The ends and the fronts are all loose. There's like 12 of them. And I've gotten to the final 4, and none of the backs fit in their front counterparts, which is absolute garbage, but I have this chisel. And I did chisel an end when I was finishing up one of the other pieces the other day, and it worked. But that was only for a tiny nub. But I have a theory, a feeling, maybe, I can chisel away enough at the sides of these acrylics so that I'm not just throwing out bits of plastic, because that feels wrong. But if I can't get these to work, we'll see. But at least we're going to enjoy the process of making teeny tiny little mushroom creations. And then from there, I will fight with the keychains, perhaps. But yeah, so I figure we will get started. I think what I want to do is actually... I don't know if I want to go out like and draw different things, or if I just want to do a couple of the ones that I've done previously, but try a different painting technique. So the first time I did these, I was doing like similar to this, where I was doing like blotches and stuff like that. But the last batch of mushrooms I did, I just painted them in regularly, and I actually really liked the way that turned out, so I think I'm just gonna try to do that. I think sometimes, you know, you start out with an idea of what you're gonna make, and then it doesn't entirely turn out that way, and that's fine. So I'm going in this new, more realistic, less blobby direction with these last 4. And yeah. Oh, maybe we just do a bunch of little spotty spots. Because we have, obviously, I'm going to try to redo this one. Try to do it justice. The fly agaric Amanita muscaria. But maybe we do like a panther cap. Or a spotted gray Amanita. Because it'll be very similar, but just a different color scheme, which might be fun. So we can play around with that a little bit. I'm not sure which other ones I want to do. I've gone through... I feel like I want to experiment with different colors again. Maybe something like these, because they're a bit more of like a pinky purple color. Yeah. I don't know yet. Maybe these guys, because they look kind of cool. The wood bluet, because they're like brown on top, but then they have more of like a brown top, which is interesting. Yeah, we'll see. Good day, good afternoon, Probacus. I hope you're doing well. I hope you had a good weekend. I hope you're staying cool. It's a rainy, gloomy day today, and I feel like I'm succumbing to the vibes, the calm, serene, sleepy vibes. I had to wrestle myself off of the sofa today. The sofa almost won. None of the above. Oh, that's a shame. I'm sorry to hear that. Hey man, we try. Hopefully, my fingers and crossed for you that the week then turns around. That we, you know, we start or we end on a more positive note. Just because it starts bad doesn't mean it's gonna end bad. That's our hope. That's our want for today. But yeah, exactly. It will turn around. Life comes in ebbs and flows and waves. We can always only try our best. But yeah. Hopefully things are good by the end of the week. And if not, they will be good eventually. And that's all we can ask of it. I actually had quite a nice weekend. Exactly. Yeah, you have your health. Health is good. Health is a good thing to have. I had a pretty good weekend, actually. It was a nice chill weekend. We didn't have like super huge plans or anything, which was nice because I feel like the rest of our month is going to be a little bit busier. So it was nice to just have like a chill hangout weekend. Should have said yes. I don't want any of you get sick. Yeah. That's fair. That's fair. You wish good health and good vibes to all of us. I appreciate that. But yeah, no, it was good. I went and saw the Barbie movie on Sunday, which was cool. I went with my sister-in-law and her friend. And then what did I do Saturday? Oh, actually, so I fixed my dress. So you know how I made a dress on stream and then I realized that the armpit flaps were not high enough. So I actually spent time fixing that. So we're finishing up the rest of our keychains. So we have 4 of these guys left. Unfortunately, the fronts and the backs do not fit each other because these keychains are garbage. But I have a chisel, and so I'm pretty sure if I chisel down the acrylic, I can make them fit and it won't look too messy. That's my hope. That is my want. But obviously first we have to draw the respective mushrooms that we are going to be painting to go in said keychains. So that's what's happening right now. But yeah, so we're just having chill, sketchy art vibes today on this rainy, gloomy day. But yeah. It was annoying because I don't know, apparently the rain/weather, the rain was meant to hold off until about midday. So I'd planned to take Shadow for a really big walk this morning. But we were both ill prepared and the rain started early. So we had to abandon that idea, that cause. But that's okay. He's not been too broken up about it. We played with some of his like puzzle toys and stuff. Because I think, don't quote me on it, but I feel like I was told something like 10 to 15, like 10 minutes of like brain stimulation with dogs. So like doing like brain puzzles and like hiding treats and doing training and stuff like that. 10 minutes of that is the equivalent of like a half-hour walk or something like that. I don't remember the exact numbers. But apparently that's a thing. So I made sure to do some of that with him when we got back. So that was fun. We had a toy that like, we have this one puzzle toy where it basically is a bunch of almost like tubes. They're kind of like test tubes and they're strung along a bar and you can put little treats in them and they're supposed to like hit it and it's meant to rotate and eventually like plop the treat out. And we hadn't used that for a while with him. So that was fun. And then to be fair, I washed a bunch of his other puzzles. He has 2 other puzzles that he uses, but we've not used them for a while, and they live under the sofa, so they were quite dirty and dusty and full of, like, remnants of old treats and things. So I was like, well, we got to give these a wash today. So I did that. So hopefully that means that we now have another option for him, because I don't know, I think it's meant to be like kind of miserable the rest of the week, but from what I've been told, that's like, you know, British summer in a nutshell. I've been here for 6 years now, and it always like surprises me how gloomy it can get here for like long periods of time, but it's not a bad thing. I feel like before, when I was like in less of a good mental state, the gloomy weather used to like really kind of get me down over time, but I think I'm much more, I don't know, I'm in a better space, so I don't find it as draining. Though I did run out of vitamin D recently. I probably should pick some more up. if the weather's gonna continue to be this way. Because I'm not gonna be getting it from the sun. Hello, I got distracted by work. Damn work. Why can't they just pay you and let you just watch me in peace? I hope you're doing well, Kat. I hope that the distraction wasn't too annoying. And it was sorted out quickly and swiftly. Yeah, it's very rude. But luckily yesterday it was clear enough that I was able to I did some gardening. We have this, I don't know about you, someone has to grow the damn food. Yeah, that's true, that's true. But yeah, so I actually got to get out and do some gardening yesterday because the rain was it wasn't raining yesterday for a change, which was nice. It was funny though, I don't know what it is. So we have this shrub in our backyard and nothing makes me more satisfied than when I trim the shrub and like square it off. It just, I don't know, it's just so satisfying because it was getting a bit like overgrown in different places, and so I got like the big shrub shears and I managed to like square it off, and so now when I look at it I'm just filled with satisfaction. Yeah, that's a nice thought. The not starving part is nice. We enjoy that. But yeah, and then also in a surprising turn of events, I thought, do you guys remember ages ago when I planted lavender and snapdragon seeds in my back garden and I wasn't sure if they were actually growing or not? Turns out they are, in and amongst all of the, weeds and grasses and stuff that have overgrown that plot as well. So when I was clearing stuff out, I actually like Googled what like snapdragon leaves are supposed to look like, and it turns out there's no flowers on them yet, which is why I couldn't tell what they were. But we actually have some little plants. So it's frustrating when you're trying to like weed the garden so it has other areas to like, so it can grow and foster, but you're like, I don't know what's weed and what's plants. So I had figured it out, and the lavender one, you can't really tell. It has like the tiniest little flowers on it, but you can smell it. So it smells like lavender. So basically I had to pull out a bunch of plants and sniff them, and once I figured out which one was the lavender by smell, I was like, cool, stop pulling that one. So that was nice. But yeah, so very exciting stuff. So I'm hoping that means, I don't know it, like I doubt they'll like flower this year, but hopefully. That's just, I don't know, it's exciting because again, I don't think I have a green thumb. I think I have a yellow thumb. It like wants to be green, but it's not quite there yet. So we're working on it. But yeah, so that was cool. Though I do find like this part right here on my hand is really sore, and I was trying to figure out why, and I think it's from holding the like shrub shears and like pushing really hard on them, and so now like these parts, though this part hurts more than the other part. But yeah, so my grippers are sore. So unrelated. Yeah, I'm down to pivot to completely random different conversations. We go in all sorts of directions here. You know how I was saving a lot of money so I can move into... Yes. Yes, I do remember. Oh yeah, that'll do it. I got sore there from rifle. Yeah. Oh, from the gripping? That makes sense. Now that that's over, yeah. You're putting in all those funds about a Tesla. Ooh, wowie wow. Just do me a favor, Probacus. Don't get a white one. I don't know why. I find that white Teslas just, they just seem super douchey to me. I don't know what it is. Like, they just seem very pretentious. I don't know why. Basically, if you have, like, yeah, basically when I see white Teslas, I instantly judge the person. That's my own personal bias. An electric blue one. Okay, that's a good, yeah, that sounds nice. That sounds really nice, actually. Blue's a nice color for cars. Your best friend has one? How do they find it? The white one is the cheapest one. Oh, is it? Oh, interesting. That is interesting. So that's people who want to be pretentious, but maybe can't afford it. But see that, still judgment. Yeah. Interesting. How does your friend like her Tesla, Kat? Or like their Tesla, sorry. I don't know. Yeah, this is kind of giving, yeah, the DIY YouTube music. I know exactly what you're talking about, Kat. She loves it. Oh, awesome. I hate it. Do you hate it just for, like, what it stands for, as in, like, who it stands for, or just the drive of it? I like the buttons on the dash. Oh, are there no buttons on the dash, or? So, Probacus, if you're getting a Tesla, does that mean that there's quite a good infrastructure for, like, charging for vehicles? Oh, I hate to size it up. Yes. Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. Oh, it's only screen. Yeah. Yeah, the screen, I get that, actually. The physical sensation of pressing buttons versus taps. No, there isn't where I am. Oh, that's good that you have a garage and solar panels. But then what's going to happen if you're out driving, you're out for a stroll, and you underestimate how far you're going to go on a charge, and then you need to charge it somewhere? What happens? Do you have, like, portable solar panels? Even if having electrical fit, can't even have aircon on because it's, oh no. Yeah. You have the APP. That's always the thing that's very interesting, because I think I remember when I was driving down to Toronto with my brother, we hit a deer, and the car had like a big old, we were fine, but there was a big old dent in the side of the car. And the most expensive part of the car refurb was obviously, it was all the electrics. So it wasn't the actual, like, body of the car and the physical parts that, like, make the car go. It was all the electronics for, like, power steering and, like, the automatic windows and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, so it's wild. It does get to that point, too. Like, I don't know, there's certain things that I don't understand why they need to be so interconnected. Like, for some reason, our dishwasher has Wi-Fi capabilities, and there's an app we can get on our phone so we can, like, manually start it, like, when we're away and shit like that. And I'm like, we just wanted the dishwasher. And it was almost like, in order to get what we wanted, we needed to then get all these bells and whistles. And so, like, you can see it's like, oh, Wi-Fi signal, you can connect to the dishwasher. And I'm like, I don't want to. I literally have no reason to. Because even still, it's not like we keep it closed all the time, queued up with a puck. Because the other thing, too, is, like, let's say I did have it connected and I was out and I was like, oh, shit, I forgot to load the dishwasher or, like, press the on button. I don't automatically, like, just store the washing tablet in the dishwasher. Like, there's certain things that I'm like, there's stuff I physically still need to do before I turn it on. Unless I have the foresight to put that all in before I leave the house, but then I should also have the foresight to just press it as I'm putting all the other things in place. You know what I mean? So I don't think it's necessary all the time. 1 or 2 months when it arrives. I'm also selling my Renault Magna now. Yeah. That's cool. Also, too, if you're one person, I don't think you need multiple vehicles, unless you're, like, a car person. I don't understand the need for multiple cars, unless, like, there's multiple people in your life that need cars. I don't know. So, yeah, that makes sense to me. You're a car person. Do you have lots of cars, then? Yeah, see, I just want my car to go from point A to point B. I don't really care about anything else. My parents are really into cars. My parents are car people. But yeah, me not so much. I'm not a car person. Yeah, okay. Can appreciate cars. One is enough. Yeah, exactly. I think one car is enough for one person. But yeah, there's appreciating cars, like going to car shows and doing whatever. But like, there's people who have like multiple vehicles, and I'm like, unless there's multiple people in your house, why? It's too expensive to have multiple cars, because you got to pay insurance on all of them if you want them all to be like road legal and stuff, right? My father has a 3X BMW, and it's a very good car for the 2010s. I'm going for 2020s. Yeah. I got to drive a classic Shelby Mustang one time. That's fair. To be fair, my parents' entire, like, the reason they went to Italy, to the specific place that they went to, is because the villa they were staying at is in partnership with a classic car rental company, and they drove up a bunch of vehicles for them to, like, go out cruising on the Tuscany countryside with. So they're very big car people. But there were a lot of older cars. A lot of those older cars are like, don't have seatbelts, don't have like proper airbags and whatever. But they also, too, the car only like drives up as far. So I think my mom could only drive like 1 or 2 of them because she was just too short to hit, like, to reach the pedals and stuff, which I thought was funny. Okay, we're gonna try to go. I feel like every time we've done one of these Amanita muscarias, they've looked more like strawberries than anything else. But I'm hoping, because I'm actually going to try to paint the white dots on them as opposed to just doing the ink mark, that'll make it less strawberry-like. That is my want. That is my hope. Yeah, they're not safe. My dad used to get me those little metal car kits, trying to get me more into cars than I was. They were fun to build, though. That's cool. Mustangs and Corvettes are like the dream, but electric's way for it. Yeah, absolutely. Have Corvettes and Mustangs dabbled or transitioned into the electric market at all yet? Oh, that's nice. So you're gonna get cash back for doing green. Mustangs will go electric. Oh, okay. Are they in the process of doing that or not yet? So if we make this one a Fly Garrick, we're gonna make this one maybe a gray version. Or maybe we try to do this like panther cap, which is a little bit different from the other one. I like the fact of this like chonky one. Right. Yeah. So they could bring in people who know about tech, but not necessarily cars. Interesting, interesting. Every car manufacturer besides Ferrari is going full Hammond electric or hybrid electric. That makes sense to me that they're investing in that. But like you said, Kat, it would have made more sense to train up the people who already know cars to then know tech, as opposed to bringing the tech bros who don't know about cars. That would have been the better move, but what do we know, eh? But yeah, I really like the idea of this mushroom right here because he looks kind of chonky. So I want to try to recreate that. whether or not my skills are up to the task. Ferrari sucks. I think they're fucking up, but I'm not them. Yeah. Yeah, right? Again, I don't know enough about cars to have any specific opinions about whether a car is good or bad. The only way I would have a metric for that is like the ethics of a company. But I have a feeling, I don't know. I just have a bias and I'm like, I don't know if the ethics of car companies are up there. So from that perspective, maybe all cars are bad. You want to know the dream car? Yeah, Aston Martin. Yeah, I feel like I've heard that. I feel like Aston Martin, isn't that one of the cars that like James Bond drives? Doesn't James Bond have an Aston Martin? Fanto. Oh, how about next year? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, get on that. Get on the ground. I don't know. This is kind of just looking like a cap of some kind, but that's fine. Yeah, I can arrange that. Yeah, sounds good. Sounds like a plan. See, I was always, again, was never a car person, but I understood cuteness. So I always, as a kid, slash, you know, not even a young adult, I think I got over it again because I don't care that much about cars, but I always wanted a Beetle. I always wanted a punch buggy because I thought they were cute. And all the cool girls in the 2000s movies drove punch buggies. And so I wanted a bright colored punch buggy. So you want a green one? A green Aston Martin. Oh, wow. Oh, it's like that kind of multi-chrome green. That looks like a Batmobile. I love a VW bug. Yeah. Yeah, I thought it would always, I thought that would be, I would be peak cool kid if I had a bug. That or a mini. I always thought minis were cool. I have a friend who has minis, or who's only really has minis. I think, again, I wanted like a little cute car. So that's why I don't know. I have no interest in vehicles that look like Transformers, because I'm like, that looks big and fast and scary and not for me. Minis are hard to sit in if you're over 5'6". Okay, interesting. So that means I couldn't pick my dad up from the airport. That wouldn't be good. "6'2", do you hate me? My legs are long. They always, yeah. Oh, really? That's interesting. That's fair. Well, now, see, now the only real criteria I have for vehicles is, well, there's a few. Because the way our car is parked, it's like a back alleyway you have to drive down, and our garage is a bit short, so it has to fit in our garage, fit down our alleyway, and the boot needs to be big enough, or the trunk needs to be big enough for Shadow to fit in it. Those are now my car criteria. Is everything else is just like a bonus. But yeah, so it can't be any, we currently have a Hyundai i30, and so we do want to get like a bigger boot criteria, but it then still can only be as long as that. So it could be taller, but it can't necessarily be longer. And then again, it can't be too wide or else it can't fit down the alleyway. Or demolish every house around you. Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, if it was only that simple, eh? We have a hard enough time because the alleyway, like, we share a house on the opposite side of it. And sometimes they have a van that they park, like, outside of our garage. And then it makes it really, really difficult to back out. So I can't even imagine if I'm like, oh, now we're just gonna, demolish this bullshit. That'd be amazing. I'm gonna end up with a Toyota for what? Is it a hunchback model? Or a hatchback? Yeah, it is a hatchback. Yeah. I can show ya. This is what my car looks like. This is like the exact car. Except we have a, this guy. Basically this. Is it 4.4? I thought it was a bit more than that. You wanted the Volvo in that movie? Yeah. Forerunner. I love a hatchback. I'm gonna blame Edward Cullen. That's so funny. I don't even remember that one. Let me see. What are the specs on this? Dimensions. Yeah, you're right, because it's 43,340 millimeters. But yeah, you're right. We don't have a lot of options. We got tiny garage. We can have a little bit more room, but yeah. I mentioned that I wanted a Volvo, and a creepy guy at the bar who had a crush on me. I was 21, he was 50. Went out and bought one so that he could offer me a ride in it. That's so creepy. That's nuts. Really? That's wild. You're like, no thank you. His name was Mickey, and he's not some yeah, really. Oh my god. Yeah. That's good. I know your dad's been, you know, not the best, but in that moment he was being a good dad. In that moment, 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. Again, don't know how I feel about this guy, but hopefully. Not bad. I think this one will have to have some shade, some shading, which we will cross that bridge when we get there. Okay, we got two more. I went with one of the guy's brother at one point. It was a disaster. Oh no. Yeah, that's awkward. The brother of the 50-year-old guy. And, like, family dinners must have been interesting. My dad had a lot of friends, and it was weird. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I get that. Definitely. Where you're like, listen, this is the only way I get to spend time with you, so... No, it was the brother of one of the other guys who was... Oh, okay. Yeah. It's been a while. You're like, meh. I know, that happens to me too, where I'm like, was this so-and-so from what time? And you're like, I don't know, it all blurs together. Time's an illusion, nothing is real. Okay. Wood blew it. I think that's the next one we're gonna try. We're gonna try this guy, because I just think they're cute. They're like purpley and stuff. So we're gonna have to do that. Okay. Okay. Cool. He looked at cinnamon. My first thought was, oh, my Christmas morning is ruined tonight. That's funny. I love it. I love how that was the deal breaker. Can't have a partner who's allergic to cinnamon. That is no unacceptable. Unacceptable. It's a sociopathic thought process. That's what it is. Yeah, guys are... Yeah. Truly. I knew someone, a girl I went to high school with was allergic to cinnamon too. And... yeah, so then when she, her, like, aunt or something would make her gingerbread cookies. But obviously, like, one of the components of gingerbread cookies is cinnamon as well as, like, ginger and stuff like that. But so it was just, like, nutmeg that she would then use instead of, 'cause I think with gingerbread and, like, with pumpkin spice and whatever, you do have a little bit of that. But then she just had to take out the cinnamon and supplement it with all of the other spices that make up, like, a gingerbread spice. I don't know how good that would have been. But, you know, it's not like she had the choice to be like, I would actually like to consume cinnamon now. Is it really? Yeah, you're like, listen, this isn't gonna happen. There are some things that are sacred. We cannot fuck with them. Did I tell you how I unintentionally invented a Christmas tradition for Liam's family? I can't remember how it happened, but basically, I decided that I was gonna bring over, my grandma had this, like, salmon dip recipe that she made all the time. But this was, like, something she would make in the summer, because traditionally when we would go to Alberta to visit family, it was usually in the summertime. We wouldn't travel over Christmas. Yeah, that's another deal breaker. Fuck that. Someone doesn't take directions like that. Yeah. Inappropriate. That's it. Throw them off a cliff. But yeah, so anyway, I don't know why I decided, but I was like, oh, I'm gonna bring over this salmon dip on Christmas morning, because when you come over, they usually have, like, bacon rolls and bagels and whatever. And I was like, oh, salmon goes good with bagels. I'm going to do this thing. And then, yeah. And then all of a sudden, it was like, oh my God, this is so good. You're going to do this every year now, right? And then it also became a thing because what had happened, it hasn't happened for a few years. I think, like, there was no ceremony, but it just died. Liam's friends had this tradition that we would go to the pub on Christmas Eve and do a pub quiz. And then go home and then go to, like, families in the morning sort of thing. And so for a couple years when they were still happening, I would get back from the pub at, like, midnight, 1 a.m, and forgot that I had to make salmon dip. So a couple times I was, like, drunk making salmon dip for Christmas morning, which was not my intention, but that's what ended up happening. Now, though, I make it a couple days in advance, but also I could make it probably the day before, because now it doesn't seem like we go to the bar anymore, because everyone's got kids and priorities and stuff. But, yeah. And it was one of those things, I don't know if I didn't bring it one year or something, and my brother-in-laws were like, where's the salmon dip? And I was like, didn't know this was a thing now. They're like, no, it's happening every year now. This is tradition. And I was like, I brought this one time. And all of a sudden it was like, no, this is now a thing forever and for always. And I'm like, okay. And then it was difficult too, because at one point, one of my brother-in-laws, he was vegan for a while, so I had to learn how to make vegan salmon dip. And you know how you make vegan salmon is you roast carrots and you like peel them and then marinate them in like soy sauce and seaweed and sesame and stuff like that, and it gives it that like umami fishy flavor. But yeah, so I did that for a couple years too, so I made like 2 different types of salmon dip, one vegan one regular one. Yeah, I mean, I want to tell you something. It's already too late. When I kept doing, yeah. Salmon dip seems like something I would have to be really in the mood for, because I don't really love salmon that much. That's fair. To be fair, I don't think that, like my one brother-in-law, I don't think he's a big fish person, but for whatever reason, this salmon dip like went down a treat. So I was like, okay, cool. But yeah, it was funny. I was like, okay. Sort of, kind of, maybe. I've dated some duds though. The one guy who pushed to someone on a tomato on the. Whoa! Was he raised in a barn? Like, what? That's so bizarre. I don't want this. I'm gonna throw it on the ground. I'm like, I'm sorry, did you watch Thor and thought that that's how life worked? Like, I don't understand. Oh my goodness. That's wild. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. Do you want a high chair and a bib to go with the fact that you're a toddler throwing food off your table? Like, who are you? That's so funny. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. Sorry to shatter the illusion that you can't just like throw your cup on the ground, let it smash, and yell for another pint. Though, do you guys remember, I don't know if this was a thing everywhere or if this was a specific restaurant or something like that, or if it was like a thing that just pubs did, that I remember going into like, I don't know if it was like, I think it was like, you know, one of those like family style restaurants that like has a bar, but there were peanut shells all over the floor, and that was like a thing where you were like allowed to just like chuck the peanut shells on the ground. Am I misremembering this? But I'm pretty sure this was a thing, and I don't know again if this was a specific restaurant that let you throw peanut shells on the floor, and that was before people were like, yo, there's so many people with like peanut anaphylaxis, maybe we don't do that. So like I've not seen that as an option in years, but I just remember like, yeah, it was a thing that you would like eat peanuts at the bar and just throw the shells on the ground. Texas Roadhouse. Oh, really? Okay, so that is a thing then. Does that still happen? I don't know. Again, I have no idea where this particular restaurant was, but maybe, because I've never been to a Texas Roadhouse, but yeah, I love that. I love how you came in exactly knowing what was going on, so I didn't imagine it. It is a real thing. That's good. They don't. Interesting. Interesting. Maybe they used to. I do know that like Five Guys, they like fry all of their chips and things in peanut oil. But yeah, in terms of like throwing them on the ground. I'm glad I'm not nuts though. I feel like, you know, I didn't imagine this. This wasn't like some 90s fever dream. You post another calamari dish. Let's take a look. But then it's gonna make me hungry, probably. Yeah, and they Five Guys have peanut boxes open for people to take as well. Oh yeah. Ooh, calamari pasta. I like that. That sounds nice. That sounds real nice. And it looks really good too. Tomato base. That looks really good. Is there some peppers in there too? That's the thing, I'm so used to having, like, or knowing of calamari that's, like, deep fried and covered in batter and therefore not full of the glutens and not potasha. But you're showing that there's a world of possibilities. You know there is. Amazing. Yeah. And I always feel bad because I actually quite like Five Guys chips. I find their food is quite expensive. But my mom has a peanut allergy, so we definitely can't go to Five Guys when she's here. I can't remember the last time I went to Five Guys. I think the thing too, right, is like their gluten-free options are not that good. I don't like fried calamari. Okay, interesting. I guess, you know what it is? It's the calamari, like, I guess it's like kind of like an onion ring in a way, right? It's like the fish version of an onion ring is like the fried calamari and stuff. Yeah. Oh, it's definitely up there. It's quite pricey. Okay, I'll write down what I thought. So this is gonna be a wood bluet. And then these guys over here. Okay. Do you get, this is a dumb question, but do you get, I don't know, but like when you buy a squid from the grocery store, do you just get like the top part of it, or do you get like the tentacles and stuff as well? Or do you just get like its body, if that makes sense? That's cool though. That's gonna be the fly, Garrick. Took the poopies out and everything. Yeah, that's true. I think when you have to like take care of, you know, do the shelling and the whatevers, that's true. Animals gotta defecate. So you gotta make sure that you get all that out there. Gotta get all the bile out. You get the whole thing. Oh, that's cool. Cat's like, no, I don't always buy fresh. Yeah. That's cool. I'm going vegetarian. To be fair, I feel like a lot of the food that you eat probably has been nowhere near the butthole of the animal. So I think you're okay. Or like near the intestines of the, you know what I mean? You're over here eating like shoulders and stuff like that, which is nowhere near the pooper, so you're fine.
Check your posture.
Thank you for that, Probacus.
It's lengthening time.
So we have one more mushroom that we need to decide what we're gonna make. Nah, man, eat sausages. I'm just gonna yeah. Came into pooper. Well, what an entrance, right? What a welcoming statement. Hello, Saul. I'm so glad to hear that you're feeling better today. I hope you had an okay weekend in spite of your hands flaring up. There's a place here called Konchu that makes really good sausage. Oh, cool. Yeah, I don't know enough about, I'm sure, like, depending on the sausage and things like that. Like, I'm sure if you're buying, like the Oscar Mayer hot dogs, that's just, you know, full of all of the scraps, but then I'm sure there are places like there are things that oh, did I say konku or konku? Or did I say konchu? Koneka? No. Oh yeah, Koneka. That makes sense to me. That makes sense to me. I pretended the E was silent. Kaneku. Okay, that makes sense to me now. Yeah, I pronounced it like that they were two separate words. But then when you think about it, it's not at the end. Isn't that usually when a vowel is at the end of a word? That's when it, you know, is silent or whatever. So obviously not. I was thinking, haven't typed yet, and she knew I was here. Amazing, amazing. Yeah. Okay, we have one more mushroom to make. I haven't decided yet what we're gonna draw, and then we gotta paint, and we'll see what we're doing. I love Alabama city names because they're so weird to say. Dude, British city names, like, it's very similar where things will be spelt the same, but they'll pronounce them differently. Like, is it Gloucestershire? Is it Gloucestershire? Like, sometimes it's Shire, sometimes it's Shire, sometimes it's, like, I don't know, man. Like, so the way you pronounce, it's like every like major town, like random town in England just sounds like you're trying to say Worcestershire, constantly. And it's so, I'm like, the only time I can pronounce the words is because a lot of city names in Canada are taken from the city names here. So I'm like, I know what that one means because there's a place like that in Canada. But not always. I have the Worcestershire. Yeah, exactly. The Worcestershire. Worcestershire. Worcester. I think it's just Worcester. Worcestershire. Worcestershire. Yeah, it's a fun word, and a lot of the city names in England are very similar, where it's like there's multiple pronunciations, but you're gonna get told off because it's never gonna be the one you want it to be. Okay, we got one more. What are we gonna do? Slap out and burnt corn. I love that. I love that so much. There was actually, on the drive between my hometown of Sudbury down to Toronto, there was a specific road that was my favorite road, and I always loved pointing it out, and it was called Go Home Lake Road. And I think because, I don't know if it was in that area or just above or before, but I know you drive through, like an indigenous, reserve, or like you drive through like to be fair, all of it's indigenous territory. But I like to think that road name was like the Aboriginal people in the area being like, no, fuck you, Go Home Lake Road. I think my dad actually drove down it to see like if there was anything there, and I think it was like a dead end, and I wonder if that was deliberate, but it makes me so happy every time I see it. I'm like, yeah, that's right, you tell them. Go Home Lake Road. Burnt corn, I love that. Every once in a while, like when I'm walking around with Shadow and stuff, and I'll look at different names, and I'm like, it'd be cool to live on this street. Do you ever see that where you see like a really cool street name, and you're like, I would like to live on that street just because I could then have a cool street name as my address? Not just me. Like, I think they're fun. Okay, we're trying to find one more. We already did the blue looking one, so let's try. Do more bonnets, more like clusters of things. I don't know though. Well, really? That's actually the name of one of the towns? Slicky Lizard, Lick Skillet, Frog Eye. You are, that just sounds like ingredients in a potion. I'm sorry, these are ingredients in a potion. Yes, when I was looking at houses that I didn't pick the ones with dumb street names, right? Yeah, absolutely. You're like, can't live on this street. It's a dumb street name. I completely feel that. Slicklet, that's so funny. Smut Eye, Intercourse, and Choco Loco. That's amazing. Are you the witch of the village? Yeah, truly. Can you just imagine? Woodpipe Street, please. Yeah, no. And also, if that's a boring one, too. Yeah, could you imagine? Slick lizard, lick skillet, eye of frog, boar tush, smut eye intercourse, choco loco. Spin it all together on the cauldron, let it bubble. That's what it sounds like to me. Okay. Looking for another mushroom to draw. Not quite sure which one I'm going to do. Aw, Probacus, thank you so much for that. I appreciate you so much. Very nice. That's awesome. Aw, thank you very much. I appreciate you. For night. Cluster, dome cap. Plums and custard is cool. I don't know if I have... maybe. We'll try. We'll try the plums and custard mushroom. I think it's mostly like the gills are yellow, so it means we have to do it like an angle. I appreciate you. You want me and Liam to be poggers? So 10 euros for half a burger each. Yeah, half a burger at whatchamacallits. Why can't I not remember the name we were just talking about? The one with the peanuts. Not Shake Shack. What was the burger joint we were literally just talking about? It literally, like, did you watch it just fly out of my head? Like, literally, the name of it literally just flew out of my head. What were we talking about? Five Guys! Oh my god. Like, I literally could not. And we were talking about it like 2 minutes ago. Wow, okay. That was literally my brain short-circuiting in real time. Cool. Interesting. Wow. Not even McDonald's these days. Yeah. I actually can't eat the, it was sitting on the windowsill and fell. Honestly. See that little word? It was like, it just yeeted itself out of my ear and out of my brain. 100%. It was like, bye, bitch. You're not gonna remember shit. I'm like, okay. But yeah. No, I don't know. Actually, do you guys know, Probacus, in Greece, is there gluten-free McDonald's? Because in Amsterdam, and I think there's somewhere else my parents went, that you can get a gluten-free Big Mac at McDonald's, but they don't have the gluten-free Big Macs here. So when I go to McDonald's, I can get McFlurries and chips. Or fries. So I used to do that. When I worked at Pandora, sometimes for lunch I would go and grab McDonald's if the line wasn't super big, and I would basically have a McFlurry and a large fry for lunch. Talk about girl dinner, girl lunch, McFlurry and chips, baby. There is? Oh, no way. That's so cool. That's actually helpful to know. Okay, we're gonna try, and we want like a large flat boy. I'm still confused on girl dinner. It's many sides, right? I guess so. To be fair, I don't quite know either. I think it's, you know what it is? I feel like girl dinner very much just feels like drunk meals, but like sober. You know what I mean? You're like, I'm just eating fun dip. I'm eating funfetti icing for dinner. Girl dinner. And you're like, okay. I don't quite get it either, but I'm like, hey man, if it, you know, gives me a name for things. McDonald's is so expensive, but I go to a local fast food chain called Goodies. Oh, interesting. But does Goodies have gluten-free? Because that's the thing. It's whatever we want. Like the other night I had string cheese and a handful of chips. Girl dinner, girl dinner. Better portions, better price, healthier, and from local farms. Yeah, but if it's not gluten-free, then it doesn't matter. Tasha can't have it. Yeah? Goodies. Let me check. Goodies. Grease. Goodies Burger House, largest fast food chain. Interesting. Cool. We'll have to check it out then. Goodies. Is it gonna tell me the restaurant? Or the menu? I want to see the menu. It's not gonna load. That's fine. Wonder if there's one in Rhodes. If there is, then when Liam and I are there, we can check it out. Because Liam likes to try burgers wherever he goes. He's a burger fiend. So if there's one in Rhodes, and it's not far away and or burnt down, we'll go. Thank you for that. Thank you for the hookups. Thank you for the local food hookup situation knowledge. Always appreciate that. Don't be annoying. I don't know. It's fine. Okay, plums and custard. Do 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 do. Tash Hash, what? Yo, what's up? Hello, hello. I lost my friend. He was a teacher of Roman music in Rhodes for 4 years. Oh, wow. Cool. Roman music. That's interesting. Was that like... What does that... I'm like, what does that mean? Is that just like... I know a lot of people think it's even more. That's so funny. That's like my mom. My mom, actually, one of my friends too, one of my really good friends, because she was like, she went to school in the city, and then she was on like intramural sports teams and stuff like that. She just like knew everyone. And my mom was the same way, because my mom had so many different jobs, and she also taught nursing at one point. So like we would be at the grocery store. Oh, okay, cool. Or we would like be out at the mall or something like that, and she'd run into somebody, and then I would try to guess, okay, where does she know this person from? Like what area of her life is this person from? Because she just seemed to know so many people, and sometimes I would have met them before, so I would have been able to know like, oh, that's from this part of her life. But other times I was like, I don't know who these people are. Who is this? And then she'd be like, oh, this is so and so. I'm like, damn, my mom knows so many people. Playing with perspective, don't know if it's working out. I don't know. No. Interesting. Oh yes, like I said, over the weekend I went to see the Barbie movie, and I did like it, but you know what it was? I think because my mom saw it and she messaged me being like, oh my god, you're gonna get all the references, it's gonna be amazing, and like, it was good, but I think I was expecting by her comments that there would be more references to like specific Barbies that I had played with. And there were references to like some Barbies, but I think it was more like 80s and like early 90s Barbies. Whereas obviously my peak Barbiedom was like in the sort of late 90s, early 2000s. But it was still enjoyable. But yeah, there was like certain things where I was like, oh damn, like I thought, you know, this Barbie. Or the other thing too was a lot of the Barbies were not based on real Barbies. They were more based on like powerful female archetypes, which is good. I guess it also shows you how many Barbies, like Barbie's had tons of jobs, but she's not had some of the bigger jobs. So they weren't like 100% like those types of things. It was more about like, oh, this Barbie's like a Nobel Prize winner and this Barbie's like a diplomat, but there was never any diplomat Barbie or never any like Nobel Prize Barbie. But there were Barbies like that were based off of historical figures who had Nobel Prizes. So there was like, they're like, oh, well, it's kind of related to this, but like not really. And I'm like, damn, I think there was like Totally Hair Barbie. That was the only one that I recognized. But I also had done projects in school on Barbie, so I was aware of some of the like controversial Barbies and stuff like that, but like not all of them. Yeah. I had a lot of Barbies in the 90s, yeah. Yeah, Barbie was a good watch. I was a Barbie and I had a Betty Spaghetti. I did have a Betty Spaghetti. I think I only had one. I was definitely a Barbie girl. It was so funny because I went with my sister-in-law and her friend super into pink, super into Barbie. I was into Barbie, less so into pink. And my sister-in-law had like one Barbie growing up and like mostly played with cars and hates the color pink and was like, oh yeah, this is cool. And she's like, I didn't even know this existed. And I was like, girl, you don't understand. I was into Barbie. I was Barbie stan. So she's like, oh, I didn't even know like this person existed. And I was like, trust me they did. Trust me this is a thing. My Barbies were hoes. That's amazing. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's cool. Well, yeah, that's why like I think choir music can be so powerful because it can like make you feel really deeply connected in a spiritual way, but not necessarily in like a preachy way. But yeah, so it made me want to actually have to venture into the loft for other reasons, but I still have all my Barbies, not all of them. I had to make some cuts when I moved across the country. Or across the globe, I guess, is more accurate. But yeah, it kind of makes me want to go in there and like bust them out and yeah, just like hang out with them again for a bit. I think I would like to probably go see the film again with the perspective that it's not going to be about all the Barbies that I played with growing up. Yeah. I never had, I think when my parents first moved to my hometown, they were like, you know, they had no family around them. So the sort of easiest way to start trying to like build a community and a connection is like through work. My dad got a job. That's the reason like why they ended up out there is because of the job that my dad got. And so I think they said that like when they first moved, they ended up going to a church for a while because my dad had connected with like a specific person that they go to. Or yeah, this specific church. So they ended up going because yeah, this guy that my dad worked with is gone. But then I think they just, it wasn't really for them, or like they ended up finding people who were of different, or who weren't like religious or whatever. So yeah, it never was something that like I grew up with, but I had a bunch of friends who went to church quite frequently. And I remember like I didn't really care. The only time I got really jealous is because when all of my friends were doing so first they do their communion. I guess first you get baptized, then you do your communion, then you have your confirmation. And so a bunch of my friends were of the age where they were doing their confirmation, and they basically went to sleepaway camp with all of the other people. And like I just remember there being a bunch of cute boys that I liked. And so the idea that my friends got to go to like a sleepaway camp with these cute boys, yes, I understand it was to learn about religion. But that was the only time I was like, damn, maybe this isn't too bad. That basically, is it misguided that I wanted to maybe use religion to get to cute boys? Possibly. I think that was completely not the intention. But that was the part of my brain that was like, the only reason I would do this. Marca. The best place I'd be in the worst. Yeah, right? No, not misguided. You were teenager hormones. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I do think that that's a thing. Like, I do think there is something to be said about finding a community of people as a way, yeah, to meet and connect with people, right? And especially, too, if your, like, towns or your communities don't have a lot of, like, secular meetup opportunities for kids, that sort of is the, like, one of the only options to like hang out with kids your own age is to go to like Bible study and stuff. Yeah. All right, so this one we decided is going to be a plum and custard. Probably write that down here, actually. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Families are complicated. All right, these are our final products. The final frontier. The last 4 keychains. Yeah, in the hood, you can just play with the neighborhood kids at the park. Yeah. Not a park. That's true, too. And that's the other thing, too, that I find, like... Yeah. Even with, like, parks and stuff. Like, there's certain points where I feel like there are... At least, too, I remember a lot of the parks that I had growing up when I was in the 90s. Like... They were made out of wood and metal. Did you guys ever have the thing when you were a kid and you went to a park that had like a tin slide, and when you slid down on the summer, you had to make sure you didn't have shorts on because then you were going to burn your legs all the way down the slide? I feel like that was like a rite of passage for kids of a certain era, because now everything's made out of plastic. It's made out of like a durable plastic, which is probably good in the long run. But yeah, we had like, I don't know. Yeah, like it was like a visceral experience going to these like playgrounds and stuff. And smelled like pee, yeah. And so when I remember they tore down a bunch of the parks in my neighborhood in favor of these more like kiddie parks. Like they were much more geared to much younger kids. And so it was this thing where like then it becomes like, okay, well, where do like the preteens and like the teenagers hang out, right? And then there seems to be this thing where a lot of like older generations will be like, oh my God, there's like a bunch of like kids getting up to, you know, no good behavior in this field somewhere, like we need to report it and like have the police around and stuff like that. And you're like, okay, so you don't want them to hang out outside. Where is the other option? And it's like, well, there's no youth group for them, so that's not gonna work. There's no, like, there aren't really spaces for teenagers, especially if you can't, drive. Like, if you don't have the infrastructure to go certain places, you're kind of just like hanging out with your friends, unless you have a parent whose house is like a cool place for you to meet up. You don't get that option. And so I always feel bad when, like, I don't know, I feel like a lot of older kids kind of get a bad rap. And to be fair, I even find that too, where like I'm, you know, driving home or whatever, and there's a bunch of kids like in the street, and I'm like, oh man, like and then I think about it and I'm like, yeah, well, where else are they gonna go but hang out? Like, we used to play, or I didn't, I was terrible at it, but like all the boys in my neighborhood would play ball hockey on the street, you know, and there's that stereotypical thing where like, yeah, in the summertime you play ball hockey and you'd have your hockey nets, and then somebody would yell car, and then everyone would like pick up the net and they would walk off to the side. Like, people used to play in the street, like that was the option, and that was fine. And for some reason now it's like not socially acceptable. In fact, you get like penalized and you get in trouble and stuff. But yeah. Yours were mostly wooden. Yeah, we had a bunch. They were wooden, but then the slides were made out of metal usually. Ours didn't smell like pee. Yeah, the heat would burn you in the summer. Yeah, splinters, butt splinters. It was safe. It wasn't hot. That's good. Nor smelled like pee. That's good. Did y'all have those little spinny things you had to get someone's? Yes. Yeah, there was a lot of those. I remember too, like how I never played it. I think it was rare when we would come across. Oh, what's tetherball? We would come across like playgrounds that either used to have a tetherball like set up, or it was just the post. Because I think they ended up getting banned where I was from because a lot of people or kids were were getting hurt. They were getting injured because somebody would like hit the tetherball and then it would like wrap around people's like necks and shit. But yeah, so it was always very wild to like come across a relic of that time. There was also a time where, did you guys ever play Red Rover? They are banned now. Okay, so that's pretty much everywhere. That's fair. It's probably for the best. Yeah, but they were low to the ground. Yes. We used to have, it was the ones where you could spin people and then they had like bars that everyone could hold on to. There were like big ones. But yeah, so we played, so Red Rover was banned at our school because we would play Red Rover, but then what would happen is people wouldn't let go, and then kids would like hang off of the arms, and then like kids would get dislocated shoulders and stuff like that. So that wasn't allowed. No, these were, oh, interesting. I didn't realize. I don't know if I did have the single ones. I just remember like the big ones. Did you guys ever play Grounder? Where like you would play like one, which looking back is actually like super dangerous. But we would play Grounder on like our school gyms or whatever. And so basically, it would be somebody who would have to close their eyes and then wander around on the jungle gym trying to tag kids, and you couldn't run on like the ground. Like the person who had their eyes closed could yell Grounder, and if you were like running from one play structure to the other, then you would be out. But then everyone used to like get mad at people, especially me. I had a really hard time keeping my eyes closed, and then I would get called a cheater, and I'm like, yeah, I also don't want to die by walking around this jungle gym with my eyes closed. Actually, that's maybe what it is. Like, I don't give a shit about trying to find you. It's more that I don't want to fall off the jungle gym. But yeah, we used to play that all the time. It was like this, but the top was flat, so you could grip it like a frisbee. Yes, I feel like we didn't have very many, but I think I know what you're talking about. So yeah, you wouldn't have like a pole to hold on to. It would be more just you would hold on for dear life to the sides. Yeah. Very early 90s. Yes. Yes. Yeah, no, I think I know what you're talking about. All right. I'm just gonna go grab, what do I need? I need some water. I gotta go fill up my water. People would break their arms and legs, and I think kids would get trapped under it if the ground cover wasn't high enough. Really? Speaking of, like, so there's some things, right, where I feel like I reflect on, like, the olden days and how, like, it was kind of crappy that, like, I remember being so pissed when all of our, like, playgrounds got refurbed and to make them, like, really sort of childish and, like, kiddie. But there's certain, like, tech, I guess, like, playground tech that I'm fascinated by. Like, do you guys have where it's almost like the ground under playgrounds now is like almost like cork? It's like a durable outdoor, like, spongy, I'm sure it's probably plastic, which maybe isn't the best thing, but the fact that it's kind of like bouncy, so with all the kids running around falling and like smacking their faces on stuff, like they're not as, it's not as painful, it's not as hard, it's a bit more like cushiony. I find that shit wild. Like, that material and technology is like so interesting to me. I'm like, damn, you made the ground safe, like, or safer, I guess. Yeah, it's like a plasticky, cork, bouncy compound. We just had wood chips. Yeah, we had wood chips too. Or there's wood chips in one of the ones near my place that I take with Shadow. I think we just had sand. Growing up, it was a lot of sand. Yeah, gravel. Yeah, gravel was awkward. But yeah, we had sand in our play structures. And I remember as a kid being like, I'm gonna dig to China, because we thought that we could do that. And we would just dig in the sand in the play structure. Okay, we need, what do we need? What do we need? We need water. Water. The pencils. Let me go fill these up real quick. We used to have an entire playground made out of old tires. Also not safe. One of the belts popped off and slapped a kid in the face. Ew, that's not good. That's not good. Yeah, you would think that the rubber would be good, but I guess, you know, anything is only as safe as the way it's constructed. You know, you could have, like, the safest, most durable, bouncy, like, material, but if you've made something poorly, it doesn't matter how safe the materials are. Rubber breaks down in the heat. Right. That's fair. That is true. That makes sense. Yeah, so just because it's like a cheaper or like a more eco alternative because you're reusing something, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to end up being the way you want it to be. Interesting. Okay. So, we're actually going to attempt to actually, so I think what I did, so one of the things I did with the last round is I actually painted them properly. We did like wet on dry, and then I actually waited for this to dry and then did like a wet on wet background that I think was kind of cool. So I think we might try to do that. I don't know, we'll see. We're just messing around. We're just fucking around and finding out, which is me most of the time doing this. So I think we're gonna paint what we want to paint white using our teeny tiny little brush, and then we'll fill in with like the red, or no, I think I need to, because I was gonna say I don't think I can do the white on top of the red. I think we do have to just do the white first. We'll see what happens. I know, again, in like all of the watercolor tutorials I was looking at, it seems like, you're meant to use like this thing called gouache. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. So I was surprised actually when my watercolor paint set came with like a white, color, but we're gonna use it just because I think that it would make it easier for me. When I'm doing the red, the reddish purple or reddish orange. Wow. I feel like my brain, you know what it is? Honestly, I do think I am a bit tired. So, if anyone has any tips and tricks, let me know. So, Shadow is back on his bullshit for about a month now, where when we go to bed, he's like already asleep, so he doesn't go outside to go to the bathroom, and so he religiously ends up waking us up anywhere between midnight and 4 in the morning to go outside. Which obviously we prefer that to him, like, you know, doing his business in the house, but ideally we would like him to do his business before we go to bed. But like to the point where like the other night Liam full on went outside with him. Like, you know what it is? Like, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. We will bring Shadow outside with us and be like, "Okay, dude, like, do your business." And he's like, "I don't have to." And so we're like, okay. And then by that point, it's like 10:30, 11 o'clock. And it's like, I'm not going to sit out there for 45 minutes with him waiting for him to do his business. So I don't know what the solution to this is. Like, I don't know. I would like to not continually wake up at 4 a.m. for the rest of my life just because the dog doesn't know how to regulate his bowels. But I don't know. Is this my life now? I'm not sure. I don't know. He's currently hanging out downstairs. Yeah, don't know what to do about that. Again, like I said, we'll keep doing what we're doing, but it would be nice if that wasn't the reality. I guess the only other option would be to go to bed earlier, so that, because I anticipate that I am going to be getting up with him at some point in the evening, so that I get more of a rested sleep. But yeah, try telling my brain that. Never have that where you're just like sitting on the sofa scrolling through Instagram for like an hour and you're not really doing anything, and you're like, I might as well just go to bed, but then for whatever reason you can't pull yourself off the sofa to go get ready for bed until like 11 o'clock, and then you're like, why am I going to bed so late when I literally just did fuck all for the last 2 hours? Yeah, that's me. Like, I should just go to bed. I don't know why. I think it's because, like, I don't know. I guess because, like, I want to spend time with Liam even if we're not doing anything together. Like, he'll just be watching TV or watching YouTube videos, and I just want to, like, be around him. So to go to bed would be that, like, I don't get to spend time with him even if we're just sitting there, like, not really doing anything. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Okay. Next is the panther cap, which is, again, more white. I know, stimulating watercolor painting going on right now. But we're doing the bases. You're supposed to do from lightest to darkest. So obviously, this is the lightest. Yesterday, so you know how I was talking about how we have these weddings to go to in the next few months, and so over the weekend I fixed my dress. I had the I had to adjust the armpit flaps, because I remember I told you guys when I made the dress that the way it was cut, like the sides went down to like my waist, and we were like, this is not okay. And so my mom came up with the idea to basically come up with, I think they're officially called gussets, but I just call them armpit flaps or armpit covers, to basically cut out a triangle of fabric and stick it across the section that is like open in order to close that up and raise that line up a little bit. And so we did that, but I don't think I raised it up enough. I think I tied the drawstring too high, so then when I actually adjusted it to where I wanted it to be, like my sides were still exposed more than I wanted them to be. So I had to fix that. So I did that, which is awesome. That's all fixed. That's really good. And so the next step I had said was that, well, I need to figure out what like hair and makeup I'm going to do. So yesterday, I was going to paint my nails, and I was like, well, wait a second. While I'm here, I might as well do this thing, because I need to figure out what I'm doing, and I would like to not take a million hours on the day. Like, I don't know when the wedding starts. I'm going to have to double check that. Because then, you know, I have to do the thing of like, okay, the wedding starts at this time. So that means it's going to take me, you know, an hour to do this and 2 hours to do that. So that means I have to go to bed at this time and whatever, right? So if I can not take a million years to do my hair and makeup, that would be ideal. And the best way to not have that happen is to practice. And so I managed to figure out the makeup that I'm doing. That's fine. Perfect. Figured that out. I think that took, I don't know, 45 minutes to an hour because I was like doing the whole thing, and that's fine. That makes sense to me. I'm like, cool, that's whatever. I watched like so many updo tutorials because my default when it's like, oh, you're gonna do something fancy, do something with your hair, my default is to just curl it because my hair is usually straight, it's up. What's a way to like make me look fancy or whatever? It's just to curl my hair. But the thing is, mind you, now I don't know because it's been so freaking cold here. I don't know if it's going to be cold or hot in Ireland, but I assume I'm ready to be busting up the dance floor. So I want my hair to be up. So I want to do an updo. And I am traveling for this. I don't want to have to bring an arsenal of stuff with me. So I was like, okay, let's learn how to do simple, cute updos for medium fine hair, I guess. I would just put medium length hair at the first point. I don't know. Like, I thought I actually had long hair. Turns out, I think when you do long hair updos, they think you have hair to your butt because they're like braiding it, they're twisting it. And they're like, yeah, once you twist it in all these knots, then wrap it around itself 12 times and then bobby pin the shit out of it. And I flipped it, and by the time that happens, I have all these little ends that I'm like, I don't know what to do with this. And then also, too, the other thing, if anyone knows how to do this, let me know, because half of the tutorials were like, and take your hair and wrap it in like a sausage roll in on itself, and then pin it in place without the ends of my hair sticking out and trying to escape this little sausage roll I'm trying to roll it into. So basically, it was like 3-4 hours later. And in the end, I have these like twist pins. I ended up just like putting my head to the side and twisting it into a bun and jamming a couple safe bobby pins in there and calling it a day. Cause I was like, I don't know. And then of course too, it's all the back of your head, right? So I'm sitting there putting my hair in ponytails, twisting the ponytails, doing whatever, and I have no idea what the back of my head looks like. But I can feel that it's not doing what I think it's supposed to be doing. And then, of course, after doing this for like 3 hours, my elbows are so sore. People who like braid their hair and like do cute shit with their hair, like how do you, like, are your elbows not just constantly aching? Do you have like super strong elbows? Because I would have thought, okay, my arms hurt. Why do my elbows hurt? I don't understand. I just shake my head. Yeah, honestly. And like, yeah, like I don't know. Like, is it not, like, to just have my hair like this, wearing a formal outfit for some reason doesn't feel appropriate? Or you, like, want to look a bit fancy, so you want to do fancy things. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't understand. But yeah, so that was fun. So I spent, like 4 hours. I was down a rabbit hole. I was watching tutorials. I was like, listen, cute hair updos. And then I was like, cute hair updos for medium hair. And then other times, too, there was ones that was like, oh, yeah, this is really cute. Do a ponytail and then like basically flip your hair into a bun and then like shove it into itself and it'll just like hold itself in like a little bun, like a little like basket of your hair. Your hair basically becomes like a shopping bag, like a reusable bag that you then shove the ends of your hair into. But then the ends of my hair were just slipping out. So I was like, oh, okay, clearly my hair isn't thick enough for this. So let's do updos for fine hair. And then even then, I think there were certain ones that I got close, but then it was like, listen, this is gonna take me 6 hours and I'm not gonna like it. And so I don't need the stress. But then Liam had a good point because it's my mother-in-law's 60th birthday on Saturday. She's having a party. I think it's actually not this weekend, but like the party's this weekend. And so if his cousin is there or his partner, they're both barbers / like hairdressers. And so he's like, why don't you ask them? like, for advice on, like, what to do or something. And I'm like, that's a fair point. So I might pick their brain. But I think in the end, it's going to be... The other thing, too, is I think I did find out... I was like, oh, I managed to make something look, like, not, like, super cute. Or, like, it looked kind of cute or whatever. And then it was up. But the thing is, the earrings I'm wearing are, like, these kind of big hoops. And then it didn't look right. Like, I don't know what it was. Like, for some reason, big earrings with, like, pulled back hair. Like, it looked like too much going on. And so I was like, shit, I want to have my hair up, but it looks really dumb with my hair up with these particular earrings. And so that's why I ended up with, like, the side bun, because then it kind of, I don't know, it seemed to balance. Basically, if I hide my ears with the hair, it seems to balance itself out somewhat. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, it was ridiculous. I was like, oh, how's your day going? He's like, oh, it's Monday. And he was like, how's your day going? I'm like, I spent over 3 hours watching freaking updo hair tutorials just to have it look not right with the earrings that I have. And he's like, so I see we're both having a day. I'm like, yeah, you think? Yeah, I don't know who did it. My sister's a hairdresser, but she's so bad at long hair stuff. Oh, interesting. I'm for a test drive. Excited. Oh, amazing. Yeah, I was talking about how I spent over 3 hours learning how to do updos for my hair. And it was painful and it made my elbows hurt and it wasn't fun. Like, luckily the makeup didn't take very long and I knew what I was doing. If anything, now I can probably get it down to like 45 minutes because I know. So I'm like, okay, cool. Like, that part I understand. But yeah, trying to do anything besides my default of like curl my hair, now it's fancy. I don't understand, like, people who can do cute braids. Like, I can only do the braids with the bits of my hair that are hanging. The people who can do like French braids where they incorporate the hair up here and stuff, it's not something I can do. I don't, like, I'm so envious of people who know how to like style their hair cute. I'm like, teach me your ways. I don't understand. This is like, that is witchcraft to me. Honestly, like, people who can do cute shit with their hair. And, like, the other thing, too, right, is, like, they're also, like, the messier it is, the cuter it looks, or it looks, like, you know, effortless and chic and whatever. And then I'm like, my messiness just looks, like, messy. It doesn't look cute or, like, you know, unkept and whatever. It just looks messy. I don't understand. I can French braid. Yeah, that's the other thing, too. I do think it's probably easier to French braid someone, like, to braid someone else's hair than to braid your own hair, because you're trying to do this and have your hair up and whatever. My hair is giving 90s short hair. Ooh, are you giving like Winona Ryder in Girl Interrupted short hair? I think she had short hair in that one. I think it was that one. Because that's really cute. It'd be really cute regardless, but salon selectives. What does that mean? That's the thing too. I don't know what that is. What am I looking up? I'm looking up Girl Interrupted. Girl Interrupted. That is not what I clicked. Girl Interrupted. Yes! It was an ad. Oh no, I don't know. To be fair, there's probably lots of like hair ads. Like this. Like this? Is it giving this? Or not as like polished? Either way. It's very cute. This is like peak. Yeah, no. That's the thing too. I do know people who actually like go. I've only ever been to a salon one time to get... Oh no. Oh right, because your hair's quite curly. Yeah, that's true. Oh, it could be... That's cute, though. What was it like? Wood Blew It. Is it in the first few? Check your general Discord. Okay, will do. Will do. Okay. I think I am gonna maybe do a bit of white on here first, and then I'll add, like, the lilac and stuff on top. We're talking about how I think it's witchcraft, how people can do cute things with their hair. Because I spent over 3 hours watching medium hair updo tutorials just for me to, like, do a bun on the side of my head and call it a day. Yeah. because I'm going to a couple weddings this year, and I anticipate it being quite warm, and they're destination weddings. So I want to be able to do something with like very little product, very little like supplies. And yeah, so I tried practicing, and it didn't go well. I think it went as well as I thought it would, but it just made me realize like my hair is probably some of the longest it's been in a while, but apparently it's not long enough for long hair updo tutorials. So that was an interesting thing for me to know, for me to learn. Yeah, 90s hair was hilariously awful, and I loved it so much. That's so funny. There were definitely there was definitely some trends. It was chunky highlights and very thin eyebrows. It is that short. It's curly all over, and the bangs are pinned back. I like that. I like that. 90s commercial looks so good. I wasn't there, but wish it was. Yeah. Yeah, we forget Probacus is a baby. Oh, you found it. You found the YouTube salon. That's almost 8. Yeah, that looks very 90s. That's so funny. I didn't really get a lot of hair till I was 5. It was very wispy and thin. Yeah. Seems like a hack is that. Yeah! That's true too. I wonder if that's what it is. Am I old enough to be his mother? No, I don't think so. You're old enough to be his like cool aunt, I think. His like cool aunt, you know, that's like 10 years younger than his mom, I think. I don't know, have we decided, are you officially, I don't know if you're a millennial, are you officially Gen Z? You're still a 90s kid, right, Probacus? You're still a 90s kid, so at least from what I remember. Okay, what the generations by year. Yeah. 98! Yeah, you are, apparently, according to this infographic, you're officially Gen Z. You are Gen Z. Yeah, so still 90s. Yeah, me and Gremlin. 92, baby. Cat. Ugh. No. You're not old, you're vintage. You're a classic. Like fine wine. You're a Zuma Potter. Okay, what am I doing? I don't remember. Okay, let's, is this dry? Yes. Okay. I think we're still gonna use this because we need to get into the fine. We're gonna attempt some detail work with this. No guarantees how detailed we're gonna get with it though. Am I happy with this color though? I think I might blend it with something else. Just like the tiniest bit. Now it's looking a little brown and I don't like that, so we're gonna add a bit of yellow or like orange to the mix. Maybe we might need more red. More red, please. Oh my god, we were talking about the dance. Yes. Oh my god. You found, oh, the bunny outfit? Batman Returns and Death Becomes Her released in 19. Oh, no way! I only recently saw Death Becomes Her the last few years. Liam showed it to me. Very good. Cult classic. For a reason. No, this is another one. Let me see. Oh my goodness! Look at the little ballerina babies! Oh my goodness! That's so cute. I love it. I love it. Yup. That was ballet, right? You took little ballerina lemons. Exactly. Exactly. Oh my goodness. Oh no. Yeah, my ability to not accidentally paint over all of these little dots is strong. I don't know if I can trust myself. I think I took it for 2 years. That's amazing. The only time I took ballet was when I was in secondary school, because I was a dance minor in high school. And we took, I think it was like 3 days a week. But it was mostly like ballet warm-ups. We never like performed ballet. It was mostly like modern, or we were like doing our own thing and stuff. But we did like the lessons. And I just remember being in like the best, like I had the best posture and was in like the strongest shape of my life because I was doing ballet exercises every like 3 times a week for like half a year. I did some middle school for a talent show. It was a group of girlies dancing to Sean Paul songs. No way! Yeah. Did you guys do that? Did you have talent shows? We did too. We had talent shows every year. I know one year, I think we were in, I want to say the 2nd grade, maybe? And me and a group of girls did a dance routine to Dr. Jones by Aqua. Yeah, we did Aqua, and then one year, the first year I think I was in my school's talent show. No, that must have been later. That must have been like the 4th or 5th grade. I think that was maybe 5th grade, I think. That we did Dr. Jones. And then I think it was the 2nd grade. I did a tap dance routine because I was taking tap and jazz for years. I did a tap dance routine by the song There's Your Trouble by the Chicks, formerly known as the Dixie Chicks. Yeah, but then that's before I discovered that I enjoyed singing, and then grade 3 was when I hit them with the Shrek soundtrack, specifically Like Wow by Leslie Carter. Yeah. Which one? The Chick song? That is a good song. I think when this dries, we might have to try and do the white again. It's not going bad. Because the other thing too is they don't have to be like perfect circles because they're just kind of like little blotches, so it's not the worst. Haha! That's another good one too. I was singing that. I told you guys how I drove to my friend's place and listened to the Shrek soundtrack. Because I have all these CDs and we still have a CD player in our car. And I was like, I should be listening to these. But now I'm actually, which honestly, again, also slaps, is the soundtrack from the Lindsay Lohan, Jamie Lee Curtis Freaky Friday. So many of those songs. Again, that is another S-tier soundtrack from the 2000s. So that is now currently playing in the car. But I've not done a large drive in a while, so I've not listened to all of the songs constantly like I did with the Shrek one. So it's still in there because I still feel like I've not gained all my time with it. They're doing... Yes, I saw they're doing... It'll be interesting. Again, I think it'll probably be a Disney Plus exclusive. It's like when they did Life Size 2. Did anyone watch Life Size 2? Because I definitely didn't. Yeah. And it was like a Disney Plus, I think, exclusive. So, I don't know how I feel about that. I just want this to continue to exist in the perfect little time capsule that it was. Yes! Back when fake songs in movies had the quality of legit songs. Thank you very much, Crafty Gremlin. 100%. Take Me Away is a banger. You're doing it for a rewatch. You're so lucky. You're so lucky. Yeah. Take Me Away. That was a good one. Also, speaking of That Thing You Do has the best music. I don't know if I've ever seen that one. Oh, I'll have to do that. The other one that also had really good fake songs. Have you guys ever seen the live action Josie and the Pussycats? I also have that soundtrack, and I also think Three Small Words, banger. Banger of a tune. Yeah. Love that one. Yeah, so good. Let me look up. Yes, excuse me, own that shit on DVD. Also own that shit on VHS. Yeah, Three Small Words by Josie and the Pussycat Dolls. Yeah, Josie and the Pussycats, long tails and ears for hats, guitars and Marshall stacks, hot, sweet, super cool, don't you know these kitties rule? Hurry, hurry. Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, Josie and the Pussycats, Three Small Words. Just honestly, like, all of those songs, it's basically like pop rock, punk, basically like, it's like teenage girls pop punk, really, is what this is. It's like distorted guitars with pop vocals and like catchy choruses. That's like my childhood in a nutshell. Like the time between, so first I was like pop girly, so it was Spice Girls, Britney, all of those things, and then it was like, okay, now we're doing like the Avrils, you know, the heavier, but it's still very like poppy. And yeah, so that was like the Freaky Friday soundtrack, Josie and the Pussycats, absolute bangers. I love the Spice Girls movie too. I didn't realize how many cameos were in that Spice Girls movie as well, and then also too the song that they played. I don't know where they were, but when they had the backup dancers come out in like the purple outfits, and then that was like a song that wasn't on any of the albums, and I was always like, oh my god, it's an unreleased song, like I want that soundtrack sort of thing. But yeah, come on, come on, come on, so good. And also on the Josie and the Pussycat soundtrack, they have the band that was before the Pussycat Dolls. They were called Du Jour, and so there's two of their songs on the Josie and the Pussycat Dolls soundtrack. So funny. Okay, we did this guy. I'm gonna wait for that to dry. Let's do the panther cap, I guess. That one's more of like a browny gray. Yeah, and they had the aliens. Oh, the aliens were so fun. And when they're racing the tour bus to try to get to their show on time, and then it's just like a toy prop of the bus jumping over the bridge. So good. And then honestly, like, I wanted their tour bus so bad because they all had their own rooms with their own wardrobes. Yeah. And then Posh can't decide what she's wearing, and she goes, and then Baby Spice is like, oh my god, yeah, that's so hard. The little Gucci dress, or the little Gucci dress. And she was like, yeah, exactly, duh. Or when they do the drill sergeant, they're learning how, and they're like, we're the Spice Girls, yes indeed. I can't remember the whole chant, but it was so good when they do the obstacle course, and then Victoria is just like walking past the whole thing, like wearing her heels, being like, I'm not doing this. Yeah, that definitely deserves a rewatch. So good. The drill montage was my favorite. 100%. Yeah. I think that was probably mine as well. Oh, and then however, were you terrified as a child that someone was gonna come out of your toilet? Because they had the paparazzi, the bald paparazzo, who like, they were staying in a mansion or whatever, and then he like poked his head through the toilet because he's trying to like get the scoop on them and stuff, and then everyone was like, oh my god, gotta check the toilet for bald men popping out of it. So silly. Okay, we're gonna do some color mixing. We're gonna do a bit of this brown. because we're trying to get like a grayish. I had a constant fear of toilets for a while. The movie absolutely was a fever dream. 100%. Yeah. So funny.
Hey, check your posture.
Thank you, Probacus.
It's lengthening time.
Okay, so we're trying to basically make this color here in here.
It's tea time.
So let me drink. Oh, the tea's done. We gotta switch to the water. Cheers, friends. Hydrate. I forgot it wasn't water. I forgot it was tonic water and squash. Go me. That was a nice realization. I thought I just had water in there. Let's do some stretching. Let's do some wrists. Let's do the head. Remember watching a yoga with Adrian video about when you do neck rolls, a better way to do it is actually to like pretend you're drawing circles with your nose. So instead of like going like this with your head, strategically like almost use your nose to guide the circle, and then you go in with your circles and then back out again. So now when I do like neck rolls and stuff like that, I always draw circles with my nose instead. Cool. Okay. Yeah, constant fear of toilets. That's like I remember my friend's sister when she watched Psycho for the first time. She then couldn't shower alone in her house for a while. So I'd ask my friend to come over, and she'd be like, I can't. My sister needs to have a shower, and she's afraid to do that without someone in the house, so I have to wait for her to shower before I can come over. I was like, okay. Yeah, right? I remember when I realized that, I was like, oh, interesting. That's me with science, fucking with aliens. I was always locked at the bathroom door because I was worried someone would stab me in the shower. Yeah. I don't know if I ever had like an irrational fear like that. That and Fire in the Sky. Oh, I've never heard of that one. Okay, a little bit more. This blue in here. Oh, that might be too much blue. I think we're gonna go back in with more brown. Whoops. Yeah, I know my brother was really, like, my brother didn't want, for the longest time, like, when he was little, to be downstairs by himself. So my parents would go to bed and we'd be downstairs, and I would be like, I need to go to bed, and Vic would be like, I'll stay downstairs so I can continue to be down here, and I'd be like, nah, dude, like, I'm going to bed, so you either have to come up with me or you're fending for yourself. So sometimes he'd be like, give me a minute. I'm like, okay. Now this seems too dark. I don't know. We're just doing this. This is what I was looking for the other day. I had my nightmare tree and Doctor Who tree. Oh, apparently there was an error. It's not letting me look at it. Rude. That's so cool that you have a Doctor Who tree, though. I think this maybe is the right color. I think it just needs to not be as dark, maybe. Oh, there we go. I'll try again. Probably won't work. Let me check. No, it didn't. Rude. It's weird though that your dance one worked and that one didn't. Okay, this one is bigger white dots, so hopefully I'll be better at painting around them. Hopefully. Last time, LOL, okay. It worked! Oh, that's cool. Oh, your Doctor Who tree is cool. I like it. That's really cool. Is the tree white too? That's what it looked like. We had a white tree for a while. But my parents had a white tree. There were like different like tree color fads. I feel like I remember the reason we got a white tree is I think my mom got really nostalgic because they were like really big in the 70s. And so then we got one and had it for a few years because of that. Oh, you fancy. 2 trees never, yeah. There's a string of TARDISes. TARDISes. I have a white and black. That's so cool. That's cool. Yeah, I've never done, I think one year my mom was like, okay, we'll do like a themed tree. But now, cause I have, especially now, cause I've inherited so many of, my like old family ornaments and stuff like that. So I feel like I always want to go the more like sentimental route with trees as opposed to like the, like a theme one, you know? I made a curved top for my tree. And that's cool. That's really cool. There were purple roses on that tree with eyeballs in them. Oh, that's cool. I like that. I do have my Halloween tree. Like I have a little one that I put up for Halloween. So that's the closest I have to like a theme tree, where it is like spooky theme, but it's not like a whole tree. It's just like a little tabletop guy. Maybe over the time made fun of me for doing this. Yeah, rude. Should have known. Yeah, exactly. People who like shit on other people, like don't discourage people's joy. You know what I mean? It's like if someone likes, you know, if doing this thing brings them joy, why would you be rude about that? It's not harming anyone. Don't make people feel dumb for liking things. Let me see. Oh, that's so cute. That's so cute. Love that. Okay. Sure. It's a little bit darker on one side than the other, but I feel like that there's variations. Variations are allowed. Now, I don't know if I should try, because like the white here, there's going to be like kind of shadows on it. So I'm like, should I try and do the shadows with the paint, or should I do it with the ink? I can try with the paint. If I put some of this over here. On this lid, and then I add a bunch of white. Or I guess I can just really, I don't know, I'm trying to make it more gray than what it is. I'm just realized I don't really have a black one. But that should be fine. If I give it like the tingiest tinge of like a blue. No, now it's blue. There we go. That's a bit darker. That's like a gray black. And then if I do it with a fuck ton of water and make it really translucent, maybe. we're gonna attempt. We're just gonna attempt some shading with that's not bad actually. I don't hate that. Cool. Okay. Yeah. Awesome. Okay, now the thing that I am the most interested in is we need to try to make like a purpley color to go on this wood bluet. So sort of like a blue violet. So we're gonna attempt that. We'll stick that here probably on my little tin. So I think we need some blue and some red and some white. Let's use the dark blue. Stick that here. And then we'll grab some of this. Probably need a lot more because now this is just kind of looking gray. It's kind of getting there. Slowly but surely. Might have to add a bit more of the lighter stuff. Because I know obviously you can make things lighter by just adding more water, but I also want it to look like a brighter color, so that's why I'm thinking we also need to add the white. We need kind of more like a lilac-y color. Sorta, kinda. This is looking a bit more pink, but also kind of looking the way I want it to. Okay. And now with this, it's not really like the whole thing isn't that color. It's more like there's like kind of, okay, I guess the whole thing is turning this color. Okay. I think we probably have to let it dry and then maybe again add more white. I don't think it's bad. I think it could have been a bit brighter, but in terms of like the intensity, but I don't know. Attempts were made. It's definitely more pink than lilac. Lilac? Don't know. Oh well. Attempts were made. Okay, now we need to add basically just like a warm kind of tannish color. which is probably like a bit of this. But maybe, yeah, this is a little yellow. Maybe if I add a bit of that. That might be too dark. We want it to be a little bit brighter than that. What if we mix you over here? That's maybe a bit better. Perhaps. Maybe if I mix you with this. Yes, I think that's maybe, perhaps, I don't know. It's all about fucking around and finding out, isn't it? Okay. Kind of. It still feels like it's a bit bright. But we are learning. Interesting. Interesting, interesting. Maybe this may be dangerous, but okay, that's a bit of a nicer color. Perhaps. I'm also now coloring outside the lines, but it's fine. Shit happens. It's okay. Okay. Now, if this is a bit more dry, is this dry yet? Probably not. Oh no, it's already pretty dry. What if I add a bit more white? Sure. Not the best, but it's not the worst. Cool. It might just be one of those things that like we're just gonna have to step away from it, and then when we come back, we're gonna be like, yo! Now the plums and custard one is gonna be interesting. Thank you, Gremlin. I appreciate that. And then when this dries, we'll do more on the back as well. Or we'll do like a design on the back. Exactly, yeah, we can always add stuff, but it's harder to take away, definitely. Let's go back in and do more of these. Don't necessarily know how these are going to dry down, but we'll see. Okay, cool. And while we're here, we'll do the same thing with the panther cap as well. Add a bit more of the white to the spots. I forgot that the folk channel does like global folk. So it's not like your, you know, your Western folk music. It does do Western folk music, but then it seems to turn into this like, well, folk music from everywhere. And then we get like Chinese opera music. Though I'm not mad about it. It's just always very funny to me. I love global folk. I need lunch beer, but yeah, honestly, I think I need to go get a snack too. Speaking of food, I didn't get my usual snackage. Okay. Cool. Let me go grab a snack, and then we will finish. We will do plums and custard. There we go. Hooah! Just realized that Shadow's not down here. He's upstairs. We're back on our Nature Valley bullshit. I think the rice cakes were not a good stream snack. We're back to the huge. Back to the tried and true. Sorry, I'm moving this. I'm trying to get my feet comfies. Trying to get comfy cozy. Oh. He heard me talking about him. Hello, sir. I don't know. This is chocolate, so you can't have it. And also that's paint, so you can't have that. Hello. Hi. Yeah, it's chocolate, Shadow. You can't have it. It's not for doggies. Alright. Look at that tail. No, you can't have it, Shadow. It's chocolate. Mm-mm. She's like, let me see if I can access it from another angle. No, you can't. Here, I will inhale this. Yeah, I'll give you the wrapper. I wasn't expecting to inhale the granola bar the whole time. Mmm. You're gonna foster? That's so amazing. What kind of dogs have you fostered before? Here you go. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's awesome. I think I've thought about how it'd be fun to foster, but I think everyone around me is concerned that most of the fosters would be like foster fails. I'd have to strategically foster dogs that like are breeds that like don't go with mine and Liam's lifestyle. Like it would be like, oh, this is a temporary thing. You know what I mean? But it also would be like, I don't know how Shadow would feel about it. We'd have to make sure we find one that got along with Shadow, or at least like that they ignored each other. Shadow wouldn't be like aggressive with dogs, but I think if like dogs are all up in his business, like he's a big old scaredy cat. So I don't think he could handle like boisterous energy. He'd have to be like, yo, what the hell is this? I would foster fail, so I can't do that. Yeah. So I googled the top 100 movies on IMDb. I've only seen 15 of those. That's so interesting. My mom and dad do those things, so you're downloading all this stuff now. That's really cool. I'm probably about the same. Let me look. Yeah, let's pull that up, actually. Let's pull up the top 100 IMDb movies. This one was updated. This is a September 19. Which one are you using? Okay, top 100. Okay, let's pull this up. Ooh. All right, oops, whoops, whoops. Whoops, 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 whoops. What am I doing? What am I doing? Where are we doing? It has Oppenheimer in it, so it's definitely not September. Okay. Let me pull that one up then. I think this is the one that I have. Yeah. Oops, oops, oops. Okay. Let's see. Shawshank Redemption. I've seen that one. Years ago, though. Not seen The Godfather. Seen The Dark Knight. Not seen Schindler's List. I've seen 12 Angry Men, actually. I watched it in law class. It was interesting. Yeah. Lord of the Rings. I have seen all the Lord of the Rings. You're at 40. Okay, let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, unfortunately, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. I don't know if I've seen all of Leon the Professional. Where am I at? Did I say 17 or 18? I can't remember. I'll say 17. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, maybe 23, 24, 25, 26. Wow, that's interesting that Coco, so 26, 27, Wally, yeah. 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 35. Yeah, I've not seen Casablanca. My mom has seen Casablanca. We actually had the Casablanca movie poster in my mom's like sewing room for the longest time. Yeah, I've not seen The Godfather. Coco and Wally are very good. I love Wally. I think Wally's awesome. That's cool to see so many of these. I love that there were, did you notice that there were 3 Ghibli films in there? Princess Mononoke, Spirited Away, and Grave of Fireflies. Yeah, very cool. That's cool though. There definitely are a lot of films that I haven't seen. But quite a few that I have. What did I do? I was like 30. So you've seen more than I have. Kat, you were at 40. Who's coming out was released? Yeah. I can't remember what year it came out, but I remember loving it. It was very good. Alright, plums and custard. Let's do this. Let's do this. Because we got like a half hour left. So if we can get these painted, that would be fabulous. I'm telling you, Dark Knight and Godfather. I've seen the Heath Ledger one. I've not seen the one with Anne Hathaway. Unless Anne Hathaway was in the Heath Ledger one, I don't remember. Because there's what? Batman Begins and Batman Returns. I think I saw the Returns. I don't think I saw the Begins. Another stretch. Okay. Yeah, Coco and Wally are really good. I didn't really care for, oh no, the third one I didn't mind. The 4th Toy Story I thought was dumb. But yeah, Toy Story is good. Coco is good. Wally's really good. I love how they're all Pixar films. Except the Lion King. Lion King I think was the only one in that top 100 list that was just a standalone Disney film. It wasn't Disney, Pixar. Third was meh. Yeah, exactly. Third was meh. But yeah. I think this might be an okay color for this one. To be fair, I feel like the color that we had for the wood blue, it would also work for the plums and custard, except maybe it needs to be a tiny bit darker. How do I do that? Maybe with this. No, I think it needs to be a bit more red. Which one of the other we were? Oh, that was the third one with the like incinerator bullshit. Oh, there we go. Yeah. With Lotso. Like, I want to make it like really concentrated in the center, and then Lotso smells delicious. Yeah, I think I remember that. Isn't he supposed to smell like strawberries or something like that? That is a thing. I do remember that. Yeah. I really liked, I noticed it wasn't on there, but one of the last, like, Pixar movie I remember really loving was, Seeing Red. I thought that one was really good. Just want it to be a bit more concentrated in the top. I got a Chewbacca Build-A-Bear at Disneyland. He smells like cotton candy. Really? Oh, that's so interesting. Chewy smelling like cotton candy. That's kind of cool. Hello, Shadow. I think I might have gone too ham with the color on this, with the water, sorry, on this one. Okay. Seeing red was great. Yeah, I made him smell that way. Oh, fair enough. You got to choose the scent. I didn't know. Is that just a thing at Disney? Like, does Build-A-Bear always have the scent option? That seems new to me. It could just be a Disney exclusive, but that would be kind of cool. If you could add that to the list of things you can do. This is light enough water-wise. He also, yeah, they have sense now. He also used to roar, but his little thingy is dead. Yeah. That's cool. Alright, sort of, kind of, maybe. In its own little secret special way. Cool. Okay, now it's time to do some backgrounds. So I think for those, we're gonna do like the wet on wet background. I know there was one I did where I like I outlined the whole thing with water and then just picked different colors to sort of splotch on there, and it sort of gave it an interesting effect. So I think we'll do that again. I think we'll do the blue for this guy. And I'm thinking green for the panther cap. We could do like a multicolored thing for some of the other ones, but I almost think like if we do just one color but then different levels of opacity, that might look interesting. We'll see. Blue, that's what we decided. Yeah, that's what we're doing with this guy. Okay. So if we just start. We just gonna dance. My granny forgot my cousin's birthday today. Oof. That's awkward. Speaking of birthdays, did the UPS ever resolve your hollow taco situation? She didn't forget mine though. Oh, that's nice. I love that. I love that. You're like, ruh-roh. They did. Oh, amazing. Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. I'm so glad to hear that. I think I might flood this bottom right side. Not flood it, but like do some, yeah, just dab it a bit more. Okay. Maybe add a bit more darker dabs of color. If it will let me. There we go. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. All right, one background done. Now we're gonna do the same thing with the panther cap. Maybe. Ooh, maybe we try doing like a gradient, but instead of doing like a light to dark gradient, we do like a internal to external gradient. Do you know what I mean? Do you ever see that when you do like fills on like, I don't know, like Microsoft PowerPoint or something like that, and you can do a background, you can sort of pick the direction of the gradient, and sometimes there's like an internal one where it's really light in the center and then gets darker as it goes out. I think that's what we're gonna try to do with this. So we're gonna do like a dark, I can go outside the lines here. I don't know why I'm. Tonight, so I ordered TK Maxx presents for someone's birthday, and they're being delivered tonight, but we have this courier service called Every, and so I guess I don't think not all the services do this, but this one tells you like who your delivery person is going to be, and they like show you a picture of them or something like that. And so I don't know if I ever told you about the person who once, when I was walking with Shadow, he stopped, and he was a delivery guy, and he stopped just to come over and like tell me how like magnificent Shadow is. He specifically called him magnificent. He's like, oh my god, you're magnificent, and like gave him pets and was like so excited to see him. And then like months later, we're getting a delivery from this Every company, and it's the same guy. And like usually when we have deliveries and stuff, we'll usually like hold Shadow back or like put him in the other room or something like that, just to make sure like not everyone is super into dogs, right? And so this guy, you can see him like looking around Liam's shoulder, kind of being like, oh, like what kind of dog is that and whatever. And then Liam's like, oh, like this is Shadow, like do you want to say hi to him and stuff? And then he's like, oh my god, like he's so amazing, like, you know. And of course Shadow's a big old tart, right? So he absolutely loves when people give him attention. And so yeah, and so now I'm like, oh man, like the guy who called, and it's the same guy, and so the guy who called Shadow magnificent, I don't know if he realizes that it's the same dog. He must, I don't know. And so now when he comes by and we know that it's this guy who's delivering the parcels, we like let Shadow say hi to him and stuff. And so he's actually he's meant to be delivering tonight. So I'm like, oh, Shadow's gonna get a visitor tonight. The random delivery stranger who's like, your dog is magnificent. And I'm like, ah, thank you. But yeah, I just think that's so sweet. He's like, your dog, I love them so much. And I'm like, oh my God, same. Okay, now we're gonna... Okay, this is not as... Shadow the Magnificent sounds right, right? Absolutely, absolutely. I think so too. I think so too. It's like, did you guys ever see the sequel to Anastasia? Bartok the Magnificent? That was a fun one. I remember renting that from Bianco's Superstore. Because we had a Bianco's in our like little town. We didn't have a Blockbuster. You'd have to drive to the city to go to Blockbuster. You didn't know? It's basically... I would call it a sequel, but it's kind of just, it's basically I don't know if even if it's a sequel or if it's a prequel. It might be a prequel, but it's called Bartok the Magnificent, and it's all about Bartok the Bat. I think it might be a prequel before he, like, meets up with Rasputin, or it's, like, afterwards, and Kelsey Grammer is, like, this performing bear character, which is funny because Kelsey Grammer was one of the, like, was Dimitri's, like, right-hand man in the other one, and so this is like the first time a character has, or a person has voiced like two different characters in the same like cinematic universe. But yeah, so there's this song, it's like the Bartok the Magnificent song, and I don't remember all of it, but I just remember at the end they go B-A-R-T, okay. But yeah, it's a fun time. It's a fun direct-to-video sequel. Recommend. Okay, this kind of worked. I need to let it dry, and then we're gonna do a bit more like blending, but it's not the worst. I think because this side got really dark compared to this side. But again, it's all good. There we go. Kind of. Yeah, but we'll let it dry and we'll go over that one again. All right. What background color situation are we gonna try with these guys? Might be kind of cool to do like the dark red, only because like that is a component of this. We'll see how that goes. Or maybe we attempt like a... No. Oh, like maybe we attempt a gradient. We try to do like a brown to red, but I don't think so. Maybe. Let's just do the red. We'll see how that goes. Guess we can always add another color to it afterwards if we want. what's Ko-fi all about? I'm seeing it more with crafting streamers lately. It is very similar to Patreon, from my understanding. It is similar to Patreon. I feel like, I don't know actually, because I guess, yeah, similar in the sense that it is like it can be a monthly, but I think with Ko-fi you can do like a one-off as well, whereas I don't know if Patreon, like Patreon's whole vibe is like subscription based, whereas Ko-fi, you have the option to just like almost like tip your artist or something like that. So like instead of doing a whole subscription service, which it gives you the option, you can just like do a one-off, buy them a coffee sort of thing. That was sort of, I think, the way it materialized, is it's like, oh, you're buying the creator a coffee as like a thank you or something like that. And so, yeah, so similar in that respect. And then I think as well, too, Ko-fi has the option to implement like a storefront. I think it is a bit more, but then you can sort of combine like Patreon and Etsy in a way. And I think the reason why more people are turning to it, at least like from my understanding with people that I had learned about it from, is that Ko-fi doesn't take the same like fee cut that a lot of other platforms take. But yeah. I woke up with a bum ankle and it still hurts really bad. I don't know what I did to it last night while I slept. Oh, that's so frustrating. I hate when you wake up with like random aches and pains and you're like, excuse me. You're like, we're meant to be resting. How are we inflicting harm upon ourselves when we're meant to be at rest? How does that make sense? Yeah, people aren't happy with that scene anymore. Yeah, I know. There was actually, I remember, I don't know what's happening with it, but there were like, was it last year or was it 2020? Time is an illusion, nothing is real, where like people were actually organizing like an Etsy strike. So there were vendors that were like not selling on Etsy and stuff like that to just protest the fact that like Etsy used to be more of a place for like handmade creatives, but now it's becoming, you know, in some ways there's kind of like a Wish, like a fast fashion sort of place. It's becoming like you have to kind of comb through all the bullshit to get to like the actual handmade stuff. And then a lot of times too, they're really like emphasizing the star seller program. So you have to be able to like, you know, you get rated higher if you like constantly reply to messages and like do certain things with a certain turnaround time, which is like setting an unrealistic expectation on individual artists to act like corporations when it's really just like one person. Whereas then there's other places that do sort of like, yeah, exactly, the AliExpress and like Wish side of things, where they can sell in batch and it's like people who have multiple like staff members or whatever. Yeah, it became a little bit more like eBay-y without like the bidding sort of stuff. But yeah, which is unfortunate because I still do think that Etsy is a very worldwide, like recognized platform, and a lot of people still use it. I still use it for stuff, but I do recognize that like you have to comb through. It's like going to TK Maxx or going to like a Winners or a Home Sense. You have to comb through the bullshit to like find the gems. But yeah. Okay, what are we doing with this? Plums and custard. Maybe just like an orange. That feels really intense of a color though. I kind of like the green. Maybe we do more green. But we do like a really, really light green. Where's my, guess I can mix stuff here. I stick this here and then put like an absolute fuck ton of water. Yeah, I don't know too, because I know like for instance on platforms like Instagram, you can set up storefronts as well. I don't know if like smaller makers and stuff do that or if it's just like big corporations that do that. But yeah, it'd be interesting to know like which is the most like user-friendly, affordable, fee-based platform for sellers and stuff. The only thing I find with like Ko-fi, for instance, I find that like people on Twitch and like other artists on Twitch know about it, but like explaining it to sort of like the general population who's not like in certain circles, they don't know what it is. So I think the likelihood of somebody like randomly coming across your store is much lower than, for instance, if you were on an Etsy page on a browse, right? Also shipping. Yeah, definitely. Because I think that's the other thing too, because Etsy takes such a large cut, what ends up happening is then people have to like inflate their prices in order to like combat their fees and stuff like that. Yeah. 'Tis frustrating. There. And so now this one, we can work on building up that color a bit more in the gradient. Kind of an awkward shape, I guess, to be doing this sort of internal gradient, but it's not bad. So I think for the rest of the week, Thursday, I think I'm gonna finish the rest of this off stream, just because I don't need you guys to see me absolutely raging trying to make all of these keychain backs fit together. But I think Thursday we're gonna do some more needle felting, because I need to, now that I've like, well, hopefully once these are done, I will have gone through my keychain supplies. Because that was really what I wanted to do. I wanted to make sure I used up this. And so the next move will be using up all of those little wooden pieces that I've picked up. And so, yeah. So we'll do a bit of that. And then I'm not sure what we'll do on Friday. I guess it depends on the situation. Depends on life. Depends on what's going on. Hopefully, you'll want to join me for whatever it is. Honestly, I feel like lately, I've kind of gone into the week being like, I have no idea what I want to work on. It's been very like on the day being like, well, I guess I'll do this. I also think too, I guess I can try, but I also find too, depending on like what, Liam's schedule is, like, it depends obviously if I'm upstairs or downstairs, and I don't know, I guess I could try. I don't know if I've needle felted down here before, but just, I don't know, like, it's harder supplies wise, I find, for me to needle felt down here. So if we needle felt upstairs and then it's like, okay, well, to finish it off, I don't know. It depends. We'll see how far along we are. I don't mind being down here. The only thing is that the the chairs can get uncomfortable over time. But you know, we have so many more health checks happening, so I'm stretching, I'm doing the most to keep myself going. So it's fine. I'm not worried about it. I almost had half a nerve. I had fully geared up. I was like, yeah, we're gonna do some more of this. And then I almost, like, literally before stream started, I was like, maybe I just want to color. I don't know, man. So we almost had a coloring stream today. We'll see. Well, again, it's literally, like, whatever at this point. Some days I'm like, oh, heck yeah, I want to do this. And other days I'm like, we'll find out when I turn on the PC. Okay. I do think I might need to just let this dry, but yeah, not bad. It's an interesting gradient situation. You can tell, like, you can see the sort of, but yeah, not bad. Not bad, not bad. Cool. These are the last 4 keychains. Like I said, the next step is to, well, once I finish the actual keychains, like the actual pictures, the keychains themselves will need to be filed down. But yeah, it's exciting. This is good though, because I wasn't sure if it was one of those where I'm like, are we gonna get these all done? Or are we not? I think I got really ragey and started talking with my hands again and therefore didn't get as much done. But we finished the actual sketching and painting of the mushrooms. Now once this dries, I will then ink them with the pen. And then flip this over, do a design on the back. And then cut them out and stick them in the thing. Maybe we do that on Friday. Maybe I leave all this set up and we finish the keychains on Friday. And you can just watch me frantically file down some acrylic for like 2 hours. But yeah, check it out. We did it. We did it, Shadow. If anybody has any raid suggestions, let me know. If not, we will go and see which of our fabulous friends is currently online. And we will go and say hello to them. Like I said, we'll be back here on Thursday. We'll be upstairs, so I do want to do some needle felting. I'm thinking one of these chunky bullets of some kind. Yeah, because we still have a bunch of little pieces. The other thing I actually want to do is I actually want to try to needle felt like little woodland creatures. So maybe, I don't know, we'll see. We'll see if we do a mushroom. We'll see if we do like a fox or something. I think that would be cute. Don't know. I don't know. Oh yes, do that. Yeah, do a little critter. We might do a little critter. That might be a good idea. Okay, who's online? Angelic Dreamer's online, Pop Tart's online, Artemis is online, Rabbit's online. Who's this? Hobbit's online. We haven't gone to see it. To be fair, I don't think Angelic Dreamer's been streaming around the same time as us in a long time. So maybe we should go and see them. Let's see what they're up to. They look like they're crocheting. Let's go and see. I also don't know how long they've been streaming for, so it could be a situation like when we were with Libby, where we went to see them and then they disappeared. Oh, no, they're offline. Yeah, so they must have just finished. That's so funny. Well, it's a good thing we checked. All right, who else is online? Artemis is online. Let's go see what they're doing. They're playing Are they playing more Dreamlight? It looks like it. Well, it's always a fun time to go and see them, so. She's playing Palia? I've never heard of it. Let's go find out. I'm excited now. New game. Here is the link if anyone gets left behind in the raid, because that seems to be happening a lot lately. So I'll put that in there for you. And then we will go over and do the raid. And then, yeah, let's go over and see Artemis. And then, like I said, we will be back here on Thursday doing something. Needle felting something. What that something is, who knows? But I appreciate you guys hanging out with me today. I enjoy the company. I hope you enjoyed the little fungi we have created together. And I will see you guys hopefully Thursday. Bye!